Crate training can be a challenge for some puppies. My first toller, oh my gosh, Jaden, I loved that dog so much. But initially, when I was trying to crate train him, he really gave me a run for my money.
Right,
and I was pretty early in my dog training career as well. I hadn't had the same struggle with crate training my Rottweiler. And here was this toller puppy who was just out of his mind.
Why do you think he was rejecting the crate?
I think it was just typical puppy stuff initially. And I think it's potential that I reinforced the wrong things. So again, being really new in my infancy with my dog training career, he was only my second dog. This was, I started in 99 and this was 2001. So it was fairly new in.
Right.
And I think I probably gave him positive attention accidentally when he was making noise in the crate initially. And I mean, he was a good dog in terms of being very stably tempered, but he was definitely a loud dog. He definitely went to vocalization when there was any sort of frustration in his life. So it was something I battled with him with his whole life to try to keep it under control and, make sure that I was working thresholds right and helping him move in and out of stimulation without making noise, et cetera, et cetera. And I actually, I always think back with my dogs and I think, I really wish I could go back and try that again with what I know now versus what I knew then, because, the memories of how big of a struggle it was. It would be really nice to know if that was just because of my knowledge or if really he was an overly difficult dog to crate train. But regardless, the first, I would say, 3 weeks maybe were awful. And then we finally started to make some progress and get some quiet periods and whatnot.
So it's normal for puppies to cry in their crate. People are often alarmed when their puppy, they're doing all the right things and the puppy still cries. Yeah. And that's absolutely 100% normal.
Yeah. Let's dive into that. Why?
When puppies are in the litter, they learn very quickly if they make a noise, someone's going to come and look. Yeah. Usually the mom dog or one of the litter mates will come over and say, "Hey, what you squeaking about?" And the puppy says, "Aha, making noise works. Yeah. I get attention." So, of course, now we bring them home, and they're going to feel it works with us, too. They're very innocent. They're saying, you know what?
Sometimes it does work with us because it just tugs at our heartstrings,
Oh, it does.
right?
It's a terrible noise, a puppy crying.
Yeah. So, like, if I can think back to when I said I probably accidentally or inadvertently gave him positive attention, like that reinforces the behavior. A lot of the times when we say it rewards the behavior, reinforces the behavior, people are thinking about food only. Okay, well, I'm not feeding my puppy when they're crying.
Right.
So why on earth is that rewarding the behavior? No. Rewards are anything the dog finds valuable. So if I am thinking about a puppy who is feeling like they want to bring some attention to them right there,
Right. They're lonely in their crates and they're like, what's happening? Like, what is this contraption I'm in?
And the tactic that they used when they were with mom and litter mates was to vocalize, and it worked, right? So now I'm in this crate. I want somebody to come and pay attention to me or be with me or whatever the case may be. If I make noise and that brings someone, okay, so that tactic still works here too.
Right, yes. And even if you just go over and sit with the puppy and say, "Oh, you're okay. Yeah. Don't worry. You know what? You'll be fine." The puppy's being reinforced. Yes. You know what? He's pulled the slot machine and he's got a whole bunch of quarters out of it by you returning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now the next time you walk away, he's going to cry and maybe cry louder because it worked before. I better dig in and try it a bit harder.
Exactly. And that's exactly how the process works. Their little brains are just searching for what is going to work.
Right.
Right. So if that noise, oh my gosh, heaven forbid, if that noise gets you out of the crate, you're going to keep trying that noise over and over and over again, and it's actually going to get worse because you know that it worked at one point. And if it's not working now, well, I better just get louder.
Right,
and
exactly.
more insistent and more frustrated,
Right.
We're actually making things harder for our puppies by thinking that we are being kind, What is right isn't always easy.
Right, yes.
So sometimes
people think it's separation anxiety already. No. They think, I brought my puppy home at 7 weeks and he's crying in the crate. He's getting separation anxiety.
They just haven't learned to be on their own yet.
Right, yes. It's not separation anxiety. But we can create separation anxiety if we go in and keep, hugging the pup when he cries or talking to the pup or reassuring it.
Yeah.
It's you're really being... it's you're being more cruel to the puppy.
Yes.
By doing that.
Yeah. And it's so sad because people don't realize
They don't know
that they're making their puppies' lives harder, and they're making their lives harder as well.
Yes.
Because now I have to come back from this and I have to fill in the holes that
Right.
help my puppy become confidently independent, while they've got this idea that they should scream louder and louder and louder.
Yes.
And this behavior is escalating while I'm trying to balance it out. And it's just, from the onset of bringing home a puppy, I'm using my crate, and I'm going to try my best to make it a super comfortable space for my puppy. Those first couple of days, I don't typically just leave the crate and walk away from my puppy. I'll move the crate around the house with me. So like if I go into the kitchen to make something, I'll take the little puppy crate with me, and I might put it on the counter so that my puppy can see me as I am working around the kitchen. And he's not rehearsing getting upset in the crate, but that is going to be a very short window of time.
Right.
We get a question all the time that is one that I don't know why people think that they should stay with their puppies 24/7 for, the first month or something that they're home. It just creates a disaster when you finally do separate from your puppies. So I might do that for a couple of days. But that's it.
Right.
Once I've gotten over that initial period of like the shock and the acclimation period where my puppy's like, my entire life has just changed.
Right.
Like I need some comfort. Now I'm going to start leaving my puppy in the other room. I might cover the crate so that they're not looking for action in the home. I might leave on music. The McCann Dogs music channel has been amazingly successful with our young puppies, helping them to unwind and relax and go to sleep in the crate so that we can get to that point where they're comfortable there.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes. I think of it like when my son went to university. So he's, lived with me all of his life in Ontario.
So was this you with the separation anxiety or him or both?
It was both of us. It was both of us. So suddenly now my son is, during COVID, moved out to Nova Scotia. So he's a few provinces away from me. And he's suddenly in a whole new situation. He's living in residence. Everything is different. And he, every day I got a text, and it would break my heart that he was feeling sad and lonely. And I started to stress too.
Yeah.
But you know what? In about 2 weeks, he was fine.
Yes.
And that's like our puppies.
Absolutely.
Like they're sending us these sad and lonely messages, but we just have to know that things are going to change. They're going to adjust. We just have to, be tough and,
yes.
And of course, my son knew I was there for him, and, I tried to support him as much as I can, but
support, but not cripple.
Yes. Yeah. Like I didn't, I was supportive.
Yes.
Like you're going to get through this, Ty. Like, I'd find inspirational quotes I thought that would help him. And I think they helped me more, but.
I bet.
Right.
I bet.
Yes.
Oh my
but,
goodness.
Now, he's in his 4th year and he loves it. I think he's going to, miss residence when he graduates this year.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's confident independence for you. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. That's amazing. So these are very normal transitions for humans and dogs alike.
Right.
And we just need to remember that we need to appeal to the nature of the dog and not use our own heartstrings in this. If we bring the puppy out to snuggle them and say, it's okay, I'm so sad you're crying, that makes us feel better.
Right.
And it makes life harder for the puppy in the long run.
Yes.
So
I should have done that with Ty. Don't worry, Ty.
I'll be right there.
Mama's coming. Yep. Crisscross across the provinces. Yeah. Trudging out there. Mommy's here.
Can you imagine? Hopefully at some point during the long run to get there, you would be like, oh, wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This probably isn't good.
Right. Yes.
Rescuing me might help.
Right.
Rescuing you might help me, but.
Yeah. Same with Ty attends the Canadian Coast Guard College. So the first time he was placed for 4 months on a ship, he had to live on a ship for 4 months. Now that was an even huger adjustment because you're going from land now to living on a ship.
Yeah.
And so that one also, I was ready to swim across the Atlantic Ocean to Mommy's coming. Yeah.
No,
but
you
that
were
was
coming
another
so fast you would have been able to run right over there.
And that was another huge transition for Ty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are transitions.
And so it's like for our
we
puppies.
just need to support them through it.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. So doing things like making the crate a really positive place for them, those first couple of days, making sure that they're not having negative experiences by being left alone and, really long periods of time or anything like that, but moving the crate around with
background noise.
Yeah, and then slowly starting to add in that that ability to be solo is so very important. Putting food in there for them for their meals so that they get that positive association with the crate. Well, obviously, we're not just leaving our puppies in the crate.
No.
We're taking them out and meeting their needs, but at that point, their needs are very short windowed. So they have a lot of needs, but they're very short periods of time that we can accomplish those needs because they need to sleep. If you think about a baby, they sleep a huge percentage of their life, and our puppies are no different.
Right, yes, people tend to want to keep their puppies awake, but you wouldn't keep your child awake.
Don't. If you keep your puppies awake, you end up in this overstimulated zone where they're nipping and they're flying all over the place.
They're cranky and ornery.
And that's when people come to us and say, help, like this dog won't stop attacking me, this puppy won't stop biting me, this. And if they're constantly practicing being in that overstimulated, cranky toddler mode, then that's exactly the situation that you're creating because rehearsal creates behavior. So what my puppy practices doing that's the habits they're going to come to later on in life. So if my puppy practices being calm in the crate, that's going to be the habit that they adopt. If my puppy practices being out loose all the time for, sometimes people ask about these schedules and they're saying, after he's been out for an hour and a half, and it's like an hour and a half. Like, what are you doing with your puppy for an hour and a half?
Right,
like, 15 to 20 minutes and of good training and play and things like that.
Yep.
And then if you want to spend some time having a little snuggle, that's great. But I would say, with our baby puppies especially, those windows should be short and they should be doing lots of napping so that they have the energy for growth and it doesn't become that overtired, cranky, no fun.